What's up, guys? Danielle Alvari from VSiN here with Calvin Wetzel, women's basketball writer, analyst, and better, of course, and it's March Madness. So we have to talk about the bracket now that is finally released. And something that's different from the men's tournament is there's not 4 regional sites. There's going to be 2. So there'll be 2 in Greenville, South Carolina, and 2 in Seattle. So we have the bracket broken up in that way. So we're going to start with this segment just looking at Greenville 1. I call this Nightmare City because this is South Carolina's bracket, which is just terrible if you have to be in this bracket, I think, because obviously those are the defending champs, undefeated, 32-0, just won the SEC championship. So just at the top of the bracket here, them versus Norfolk State. Of course, I have South Carolina advancing, and I have them making it to my Final Four in this part of the bracket as well. Calvin, where are you at with this matchup?
Yeah, same as you. I mean, I'm not going to go spicy enough to pick Norfolk State in this matchup, but I also have South Carolina making it all the way to the Final Four. Actually, the national championship game. Might be getting ahead of myself,
Yeah.
but yeah, I don't see them having too much trouble early on.
I do as well. Let's little sneak peek. Do you have them winning it all?
I don't.
Oh, intrigue. Okay, I do have them winning it all. So spoiler alert, this is my championship team right here. And just because this women's, we've talked about this, it's just a lot chalkier than the men's side of things, and you can't get too cute with this, really. You can't. And there's teams here that can knock them off, but they do have a pretty nice path here. Okay, moving on in the Greenville 1 section here, I'm looking at the 8-9. We have South Florida versus Marquette, and I ended up on South Florida here. I just think they're a little bit more consistent, and I worry about Marquette's defense. Where are you at on this one?
Yeah, I'm with you on South Florida. Excellent rebounding team, both sides of the ball. They're a little bit closer to home as well, so I got them moving on.
And that's something to point out, too, that we haven't, I don't think, mentioned yet if people don't know, but these are not neutral sites these games are being played at for these first 2 rounds, which is definitely something you have to factor into your handicap. It's different from the men's tournament.
Yeah, well, half of them are neutral sites, though, because it's the 1 through 4 seeds hosting. Sorry to cut you off, but so this one is at South Carolina, because South Carolina is the 1 seed in this pod. So it's a neutral site for South Florida and Marquette, but it's a lot closer to South Florida. And you're right, the 1 through 4 seeds are hosting. So none of those games are at neutral sites.
Right. So that's something where you have to do a little bit of handicapping and looking at, is this a neutral site for both teams? Is one team, this is more of a home site for them? Or is this really going to be an away game for some of these teams like Norfolk State? We look at 5 versus 12. We have Oklahoma versus Portland. I'm happy to say this is one of the teams I actually got to see in person was Portland, because I went up to Spokane and saw the Zags play them on the day that they retired Courtney Vandersloot's jersey, which was very cool. But Portland actually was ahead a lot of that game and just kind of squandered it away towards the end. And what I saw from Portland was obviously very solid scoring. They have a star player here, but I think that Oklahoma is going to be able to outlast them here based on what I've seen from them.
Yeah, Alex Fowler, great player. You mentioned the star player for Portland, and Lucy Cochran blocking shots down low, but that's not going to hurt. That's not going to help Portland as much against Oklahoma, who loves to shoot the 3, and Lucy's not going out there to block shots. So I agree. I have Oklahoma moving on.
And they're too fast for them, I think.
Yes, they are. The way they run, the way they score in transition. T-Rob, greatest 3-point shooter in college basketball history. Taylor Robertson. So she's going to light them up.
Yeah. Next one up, I know you have thoughts on. We talked about it before we jumped on. We have 4 versus 13. We have UCLA versus Sacramento State, but we had some good points that we made here. I'm on UCLA because I've been doubting this team all season, and in moments that they've proved me wrong. It's hard because they're a very young team. We know they have a lot of freshman talent. Kiki Rice comes to mind, but you like Sac State in this. Why?
I do. I got a 13-4 upset here. I think they have an incredible tandem that UCLA is going to struggle to guard in the pick and roll with Kalasia Dean in the backcourt and Izzy Nadabu in the front court, 6'5", great rebounder, great in the post, great on the roll. Sacramento State loves to slow the game down and shoot threes, which means it's going to be hard for UCLA as a favorite to pull away. And if Sacramento State makes those threes, they're a lot better shooting team than UCLA. They can really hang in the game. Also, Sac State's coach, Mark Campbell, before he came here a couple years ago, I think you mentioned this to me, right, when we were texting, spent a lot of time at Oregon as an assistant. Exactly. He scouted UCLA before. So this is definitely the biggest 13, I think, that has upset potential of any of the 4-13s.
Yeah, and it was tough for me, obviously, to decide. I think UCLA has done a really good job of being scrappy in situations where their offense, their shots are just not falling. That's what you mentioned there, was that offense is just not reliable. Sac State having the better offense in this matchup, which it shouldn't, again, because of the talent level on UCLA. But for whatever reason, that offense gets very stagnant sometimes. So I'm just kind of counting on them to grit this out the way they have. I mean, really, most recently in the Pac-12 semifinals against Stanford, they were able to win that game because they prevented Stanford from scoring. So maybe UCLA can do that there. We keep going down. We have Creighton, and they'll play the winner of Illinois, Mississippi State. I like Illinois in this, and I think they could maybe upset Creighton. Am I crazy?
No, not at all. Illinois had a fantastic season. They're underseeded. I don't think they deserved to be in the first four. I think they should have just
Yeah.
been straight up in the field. I do have Creighton winning this one, but I think it's going to be really close. And I've talked before about this with other people that I root against my bracket all the time. Uh, I would not mind one bit to have you be right and me be wrong on this one. Just as someone
Well,
who
no, I am on Creighton, but I think that Illinois, when we get the point spread out here, I'm going to be trying to look on the Illinois side, I think.
Okay, yes, there
Yeah.
we go. So,
Yeah.
yeah, I would definitely probably have Illinois covering this one as well if they get
Hmm.
enough points. We'll see how many they get in this game. They got to get by Mississippi State first, who's another tough matchup for them. That'll be a really good game in
Yeah.
the first four. But I do have Creighton coming out of this one.
Yeah, this is my one to kind of keep an eye on as maybe Illinois can at least cause trouble for Creighton, but I think Creighton's pedigree and the fact they made it to the Elite Eight last year, I think they'll be able to overcome it, but it could be a little bit rocky for them. Next up, the 3-14 matchup, Notre Dame and Southern Utah. I know Notre Dame battling through some injuries too that we have question marks on, but still able to secure a 3 seed. I still have them winning this first round, so I have Notre Dame advancing.
Yeah, Olivia Miles' health is a huge question mark coming in this one. Will she play or will she not play?
Hmm.
It seems to me, just gauging what I'm seeing around, like she's greater than 50% chance to play, but who knows? Even
It's
if
a
she doesn't
knee?
play, it's a knee. Yep, it's a knee. She
Mm,
tweaked it in the, I believe, the ACC tournament. Even if she
that's right,
doesn't
recent.
play, they are going to get by Southern Utah. Southern Utah is a great story, first time ever in the tournament, but Notre
Wow.
Dame's going to get by them either way.
Just nice to
When
be
we get,
invited.
yeah, right. They had a, and they had to hit. I don't know if you saw that shot on Twitter, that like heave to win it. Like it wasn't even a
Yes.
real jump
The
shot. It was,
highlight, yes.
yes, exactly. So good for them. Cool that they're here. They're not beating Notre Dame with or without Olivia Miles, but once we get later in the bracket, Olivia Miles' health will be a big talking point.
Well, Notre Dame knows something about big shots in tournament time, so they'll be able to maybe battle that. They have that mojo as well. We look at the 7-10 matchup next. Arizona, another Pac-12 school versus West Virginia. A lot of the brackets I've seen so far and the analysts that I've seen talking about this game have looked to the West Virginia side perhaps here as the 10 seed, but I'm going to back the Pac here. I don't think the Pac-12 gets enough recognition here, and I'm going to count on this Arizona team that also has been to a Final Four in the last 2 years.
They have, all your Pac-12 viewers are going to be getting on me because I picked against UCLA. I'm picking against Arizona here. I
Okay,
do
tell me
think,
why.
I do think, all things equal, this is probably the least even 7-10. But the problem is all
Yeah.
things aren't equal because this game is in Maryland. We talked about that the 1 through 4 seeds host the
Mm.
pod. That's right next door to West Virginia. It's a close drive. Arizona's going across the country 3 time zones away, and this is a noon tip, so it's going to be 9 a.m. on their bodies' times in a
Yeah.
state right next to the team that they're playing. The committee didn't do them any favors with that setup. So I think West Virginia has a really favorable just situation in terms of game time and game location. For that reason, I'm going to give them a little bit of an edge here.
Okay. Man. Well, hopefully they can get over there early. I did like that I saw Arizona was 5-4 versus top 5 opponents versus West Virginia 2-6. So maybe Arizona a little bit more battle tested here. I'm gonna pick them. You're going with West Virginia. Let's round out Greenville 1 with Maryland, the 2 seed, versus the 15 seed Holy Cross. I gotta go Maryland here.
Yep. This I'm not the same thing as South Carolina. It's not going to be quite as much of a blowout, but not getting crazy. Go Maryland.
Yeah, my question is, what do you think the spread is going to be on something like this? Because I'm trying to figure out the South Carolina one even, and I have to imagine it's 30 or more points, which seems
Oh, at
obscene.
least I would take it if it starts with a 3. Honestly, for South Carolina, it should be at least 40. Maryland's not going to be quite that high, but definitely should be in the 20s. We might see 30.
Yeah. Do you dabble in those early ones, or are you just those are too many points, you don't touch them?
Oh no, if it's the right number, it doesn't matter how high it is. Yeah, I'll absolutely dabble.
Okay, let's wrap up the Greenville 1 section. Who do you have in your final four out of this section?
I have South Carolina
As do
moving
I.
on. I think, yeah, this is the easiest one to pick for me.
But not winning it. We'll get to that in a different
No,
video.
not winning it. We'll tease that right here.